Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and today's shout out goes to Savage Gaming. Savage Gaming was first to say first on one of my recent videos, and thus wins this shout out. So congratulations! Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here with a review of a neat new drone. This is the 8811 Aviator 4K GPS drone. Now they're claiming 4K. What I want to talk about real quick is let's talk about that. A lot of people claim 4K. But they're talking about a lot of the times it's not true 4K video. Okay, a lot of times we'll see it'll be something like 1080p or 2K, and then the video or the still photos will be 4K. And that's what's true about this particular drone. The video is actually 2K resolution, which is 2048 by 1080p, which is not too shabby in itself. At 25 frames per second though. That's also not too bad. 25 frames per second for a HD video at 2K. But let's open this up and I'll go more into detail on this particular drone. It is a folding drone, as you can see here, and you unfold it like so. You take the front arms open them first, and then the back arms. Now, I mentioned about the camera. This is a 2K video camera and a 4K photo. The resolution of the photo is 4096 by 3072 pixel, and the video again is 2048 by 1080 pixel at 25 frames per second. The video and photos are recorded to an onboard micro SD card slot, which is right there. What that means, folks, is you really don't need the app to fly this drone. You can fly it if you wish using the controller, and I'll discuss that here shortly. There's some neat things about that controller, by the way, that I want to talk about it here when we get into it. Let's take another closer look at the drone. Looking at the belly here, you see we have an optical flow sensor that comes into play when the GPS does not have sufficient satellites to fly in GPS mode. So if you want to fly indoors with this, you can. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend flying any large brushless GPS drone indoors because these can cause damage. But still, once you get sufficient satellites, which are 11, this becomes less. This doesn't come into play anymore, and then it switches to GPS mode for maintaining horizontal position of the drone in space. So now let me talk about the battery. The battery is quite a big battery. It's 11.1 volt. 1800 milliamp per hour, which is supposed to give you 25 minutes of flight time. We'll see if that is actually true. It has a little on-off switch on the back here, and actually this does not work unless it is plugged into the drone, so you can't see how many bars of battery power you have remaining. It has to be plugged into the drone to do such. Now it is charged via micro USB cable using a wall charger. I recommend a wall charger to charge this because this battery is way too big to be charged through your computer port. It will take forever if you try to do it with that. I recommend using at least a 2 amp wall charger to charge this particular battery. But again, it has this little micro pin. Let's take a look at that. And that goes into this little hole there. And you plug the other end into a wall charger, and away you go. It will come back in a couple hours, and this should be charged. Now, I mentioned the SD card. The motors on this, it has brushless motors. These are 1806 brushless motors. That should give it pretty power. Should give it sufficient power to power this drone. Other things about it is it predicted to have a range of 500 meters FPV range. We'll see if that's actually true, because there is no repeater built into this transmitter, unfortunately. Okay, those extended range drones that you see that get hundreds and thousands of meters usually have a Wi-Fi repeater built into them. This one does not. So I kind of find the 500 meters hard to believe. We'll find out tomorrow. I will try to send it. I will send it out to 500 meters with using the controller. If we do fly out of range of FPV range, I'll continue on to at least 500 meters because I should be easily able to see. This drone is big enough, I should be able to see it at about 500 meters. Let's talk about this controller. The buttons on it, this is its antenna. One of these antenna is real, and I'm guessing one of them is not. Normally when you see two antennas, one is usually for a relay. But I'm guessing this is the real antenna since it does have something written on it. Which, what does it say? No rotation. So you can't rotate these antennas, but you can lift them up like so. for improved reception. So I'm going to close it like that, but let's go over the buttons on this particular controller. Now I did mention that, I think I mentioned that this lens on this camera can be tilted downward and upward, straight down and straight up. And the way to do that is through the remote control. This is up and this is your down button. And the movement of the lens is rather smooth. I'm surprised. It's rather smooth for a, a simple controller like this, without a scroll wheel, but it's smooth up or down movement. Now, you really don't need the app to do advanced features of orbit or headless mode. You press this orbit button here, and then you can tell the drone which direction to rotate by moving the right stick up and to the left to turn it counterclockwise, and up and to the right will turn it clockwise. It does have return to home ability, since it has a GPS. This will return to home on loss of signal, on low voltage, or on command by pressing this button here. A quick press of this button here. A prolonged press of this button, 3 seconds, opens up headless mode on this particular drone if you want to do things such as crane shots. You start the motors and stop the motors by pressing this button here. This will arm the motors. A quick press starts the motors up, and then you can give it throttle to take off. Or if you want to do a automatic takeoff, this button over here with the up and down arrows, if you hold it down for a second or two, will automatically start the motors, and the drone will automatically raise to an altitude of 1 meter and just hover there in position until you tell it which direction to go. You start and stop the video recording of this drone by pressing this button here and holding it for 2 seconds, or do a quick press to take a photo. You can adjust the rates of this drone, the amount of tilt that the drone has, and then thus the amount of speed that it will do in flight, by pressing into the throttle stick, like so. And that will adjust through 3 different rates. So it's slow, medium, and high speed if you want to do it like that. The right stick, if you press into it, will set up the trim command for indoor flying if this tends to drift indoors. Well, if it doesn't have sufficient satellites to fly GPS mode, you can adjust the trim by pressing this and then telling it right or left to which the opposite direction that it is drifting. Let's talk about the app on this. The app that is used with this, excuse me folks, is the Lula RC app, available in Google Play and iTunes. And the app will provide FPV view. That's its main feature, or main reason of existence. It also enables you to do follow me with this in GPS mode. It'll follow the GPS in your phone using the follow me command on the app. The app also has optical follow me and palm control. Those only work if the drone does not have sufficient satellites to fly in GPS mode. So if it has less than 11 satellites, then you can use those features of optical follow me and palm control. Since we're going to be flying outdoors tomorrow, I doubt that I'll be able to demonstrate those 2 features. And those 2 features don't normally work very well with apps. Optical follow me, I've never had one work properly. Now the app also does have stabilization, electronic stabilization, that you can turn on or off. I recommend for most folks not to use that. I'll try to demonstrate it tomorrow. But what I've seen in the past with other drones that have had optical stabilization using your phone as the processor, the results haven't been very impressive. You see black bars on the edge of the video, and it's just not impressive, folks. So we'll see if that actually works or not tomorrow when we fly it. I mentioned you can also do surround flight, which is orbit, using the app, but since this controller already has that built into it, I would recommend skipping that if you're going to use it. But the app does also have waypoint control that you can use, and I've tried it already, and it seems to work indoors. Okay, at least I would be able to get Google Maps while attached to the drone, okay, using my phone data service. So that was pretty neat in itself that actually worked. I'm impressed at that, because most of these apps that I've seen for these drones, the cheaper drones particularly, do not work in terms of waypoints. But we'll see tomorrow if this one does. This also does have a tracking option, optical tracking option using the app, but again, you have to be in optical flow mode. And again, I doubt tomorrow we'll have the opportunity to to demonstrate that. It also has gesture control, which you can take photos by giving it a V sign, or starting and stopping video by raising the palm to in front of the drone. And you also have palm control. If this is an optical flow mode, you can have the drone raise itself and lower itself. So let's talk about what you get in the box. You get the drone, you get the controller, you get the charging cable, you get the one battery, you get a full spare set of props, and you get this little screwdriver here for changing the props. And one other thing you get, and I got to mention it, is the box. Do not throw away the box. The box is very nice, actually. If you can see inside, it's a great carrying case. So hang on to this box for carrying case capability. Now, I mentioned one last thing before we go and fly this, is that this controller does have an LCD screen on the front of it, which gives you, let's actually turn on the drone and I'll show you. But the LCD screen has a lot of telemetry features built into it, like range, distance. I'm putting that in correctly, no, upside down. Distance, height, altitude, but there's one other thing that's really neat, and which is very different than other controllers that I've seen with this feature, LCD screen, and I'll show it to you here shortly, as soon as we get control of the drone. And that is in the center here. You notice there's a compass rose. Let me bring it up closer so you can see that. I hope that's focusing. Oh, I think it might be focusing. But there's a compass rose with a little arrow telling you which direction the drone is pointed. Okay, why is this neat? Well, this helps you maintain orientation on the drone. It tells you which direction this drone is pointed or which direction it is heading. So let's say you're out flying and you're flying distant and you notice that you've been flying westward. All you got to do to bring it back home is point it to the east, and it'll fly itself back home again. So that's neat. Okay, this is a feature that will help you maintain orientation on the drone and help you fly back to your position without using the automatic return to home and landing, which I mentioned you can activate by pressing that button here, do an automatic return to home and landing. But you can, if you maintain, if you know the direction this drone has been flying, all you got to do is fly the exact opposite direction and it should come back. And you can do that with this compass rose on this LCD screen. I think that's just neat. Normally, you just see a numerical reading and then you're going to have to do addition or subtraction in your head by adding 180 degrees or subtracting 180 degrees to have it come back to you. This one you just fly the app until you point the arrow in the exact opposite direction. But let's look up here in the upper left corner. We have telemetry of the signal strength. Tells us if where the GPS is on or off. It says GPS on, even though we only have 10 satellites right now. Tells you the voltage of both the drone and the controller. The controller is 4.5 volts. The drone's voltage right now is 12.4. It tells you we are in mode 2. You got your compass rose. Tells you we're in low rate down here. Again, you can change the rates by pressing into this stick here, medium and high. And we're going to keep it in low for now. And it also has the speed of the drone, the height of the drone, and the distance of the drone from your position. So that's about it, folks. That's the controller. That's the drone. Let's take it out in the field and see how it flies. So I hope you enjoy this flight. Good morning, Quadcopter 101 out here on a beautiful Saturday out here in the desert. We're going to do this review of the 8811 Aviator. Yeah, that's its name all right. There it is right there. Before we get started though, notice the rubber band that I have on my phone here. That's because my particular phone, my Ulefone Armor 6E here, is just too big to fit into the phone holder. So that rubber band there holds it in there. So in case your phone happens to be too big, think about getting a rubber band and that'll hold it in there. Okay, to start this thing up, let's put it on the pad. I'm going to point it off in the I want the headless mode direction to be that way today. A little bit 45 degrees away from the sun there. And I'll show you why later when I go into headless mode with this thing. But we're going to point it off in that direction there to set the headless mode direction. And turning on the drone by pressing its button in the back and holding it for about 3 seconds until you hear, well, there we go. Then we turn on the controller and we wait until we see 12.6 volts telling us we have connection with the drone. And now we're going to do the compass calibration. To activate the compass calibration, this button in the upper right corner that I have labeled CC, that's the compass calibration. You press it once. And down here you'll notice it says looks like FM. I'm not sure what the FM stands for, but that means you are in compass calibration. And the way you verify it is, look at the lights. They'll be purple in the back and flashing, or purplish pink in the back and flashing, and also in white in the front and flashing. I don't know if you can see that or see that. See how they're flashing? Okay, we're going to do this until we hear a beep. Horizontal rotations. I heard the beep. Now we're going to go nose up and do nose up vertical rotations, 3 of them, till we hear another beep. Beep. And we double check the lights. And now they are blinking blue and blinking white slowly. That tells us it's looking for a GPS signal right now, and we're going to put it on the pad. And again, point it off in that direction there. Now, while it's looking for GPS satellites, right now we have 8. That's not enough to fly GPS yet. We are going to connect to the Wi-Fi. So hold on, folks. I'm going to connect to the 802.11 AC Wi-Fi. Okay, this is the Lula RC app available on Google Play and iTunes, and a couple minutes later, we now have 19 satellites, so we are more than ready to fly in terms of satellites. Looking at the app, if you look in the lower left corner, it has calibrate. You go into there to calibrate the gyros and also calibrate the compass if you're flying without the controller. Okay, but I am flying with a controller, so I don't need to do that. Under settings, if you go in there, let's click that. Notice you can set the language to English or Chinese, record off or on. I'm not sure what that does or mean, because I am going to be recording using the controller. I got it set to off on it. I believe it's recording the video to your phone. I don't want to do that. That's going to slow down my phone if I receive that video. So I'm going to keep that off since we're recording to an SD card. Firmware upgrade, I've tried that. It does not seem to work. Video stabilization, you can turn that on. That's video stabilization. However, if you do that and you have an older, slower phone, it's going to create severe lag. So if you have older phone, I do not recommend using that. We'll try to use that later on. I'm going to avoid it also because it does tend to cause lag on my phone also. So we're going to save that. And 4K correction, I am going to leave that off too, because that tends to slow down the phone also. But we're going to go into, okay, you have instructions. I want to show you the instructions. It has software instructions here. Shows you how to use the instructions, but coming out of that. And records, it shows your flight records here. Right now, I don't show any flight records because I haven't flown this yet. This will be its first flight. And Start Play is where we're going to click, and that should open up the app. It should open up the Wi-Fi FPV. Okay, to start flying, we're going to hit Start Play. Wait, make sure we got FPV. We do, and we're going to hit submit. We're good there. And there's our FPV signal view on our screen there. We should be good to go right now. So the first thing we're going to do is get into the air, or actually start the video recording by pressing and holding this button here. And double check that the recording has started. We look up in the upper left corner and we see numbers showing in red that it's recording. Then we hit the start stop button. And that starts the motors. And then giving it a little throttle, and it's first flight. Okay, now the first thing I want to check is stability, looking for toilet bowl rotation. It is looking good there. I'm going to turn it to the right, point it toward the mountains, get into the view, actually turn it to right here, coming down a bit. We have a bit of a wind today, so we're flying in the wind, but that's okay. And getting a little lower so I can show up in the picture and say, how do you like my shirt today, folks? It's a little cold today, so that's why I'm wearing the jacket. Okay, we're good to go there. So the first thing I want to do is check out its range. Oh, we got battery power. So pushing forward, and away we go. Let me put my glasses on, too, so I can see this. Okay, it's tilting well. That tilt there is caused by the wind, folks. The drone is tilting to counter the wind, but we're going up and out. And on my compass rose, on my LCD, here, let me pop it right there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me show it to you up close. We're heading west. So all we do to bring this back to us, all we've got to remember is to head east. And it should come back to us. But heading outbound and up. Okay, we are at a range of 123 meters. Let me look on my screen. Do I still have FPV at 123 meters? Apparently not. Okay, I lost FPV signal. With that in mind, keep in mind we are still recording. No, we have. It says it stopped recording. Although I can see I'm recording on my LCD screen. So I'm hoping that it's still recording FPV or recording through the micro SD card. So we're gonna go up and push outbound even more. We're assuming that it's still recording because the LCD screen says it's still recording. And again, you can control this drone strictly through the controller. And that's what I'm doing, folks. I can see it out there. How far are we away? 200 meters. We're gonna go up higher. And outbound, higher and outbound, still heading outbound. We are 300 meters away, coming up on 300, 278, 280. I can still see it. Okay, 310 meters away. I can still see it with my glasses on. And it's turning to the left now. Oh no, turning to the right. There we go. Still going outbound. We are now 380 meters away. Flying with the controller only, folks. The controller only. Okay, it's getting real hard to see right about there. Real hard to see. 434 meters. I'm going to push it a little forward while I can still see it. I can still see it. See if we can make it to 500 like it's advertised. And I'm going to put it at 500. Going up, bang. Okay, we are coming up 500 meters. So we did make it to 500 meters. We'll probably go farther, but I'm really having a hard time seeing that, and I'm not going to do it again like I did before, where I keep on flying it. But hitting return to home. Return to home activated. I'm looking to see if the number's decreasing on the LCD screen. And they are. We're 490 meters away. I don't know if you can see that, folks. There's the LCD screen. I'm trying to show it. 450 meters away, coming back. And again, I lost signal. I'm looking on my screen here to see where I lost signal. Distance of 114 meters. So the FPV range on this is rather short. 114 meters, folks, with 5.8 gigahertz. And I did notice that the signal was kind of weak on this particular drone, the FPV signal, before it took off. So again, FPV on this will be short. Keep that in mind. It's coming back. I see it up there by Raven. There's a Raven circling up there. But how far are we at? 230 meters. So it easily made 500 meters with the controller. And again, you can use this controller to maintain your orientation. So as long as you can see that drone, you should be able to fly it just about anywhere using that compass rose on the controller. And it should be able to bring it back to you by just going the opposite direction that its position in the sky is. It was west, so all I had to do was fly it back east. And here it comes back from back east, up in the sky there. Let's see how close this return to home and landing is. Here shortly, we'll find out. Stepping back a bit. Right overhead. Okay, and it should be starting its descent now. Okay, here it coming down. A bit slow, it's descent, but it is coming down. And his lights flash. I can see a rapid flash in sunlight here. Blink, 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 blink. It's front lights. I guess that means it's in return to home mode. I think that's its front lights. Might be its back lights too. The final part of its descent. Did we gain the signal back? No, that means I'm going to have to restart the app to get the signal back again. So, hello there. And it just touches the pad, so that's not too bad. Okay, I'm going to stop the video recording by holding the button down again. And this insignia on the LCD screen has gone off, indicating recording has stopped. Checking my hat again. Okay, we'll put it back on the pad again, and we'll try the other features of this drone, namely the ones that you can use with the app, like Follow Me and Circle Me. So, we are on the pad. This time, I'm going to start the video recording, or actually, I got to reconnect to the app, so hold on, folks. I'm going to restart the app. Okay, to reconnect to that app, I needed to restart the drone and then restart the app, so keep that in mind, folks. If you fly out of range of this particular app, you will need to restart the drone. Okay, this time we are going to start the video again by holding that button down there. I took a photo. I want to hold it down for 2 seconds. We're going to start the video. Video is recording, and this time we're going to do an automatic takeoff by pressing the auto takeoff button up here and holding it until it takes off. Let's try it again. Okay, apparently it doesn't want to do it. I think we need to start the motors first, so start the motors. Okay, hitting start. Okay, motors are started, and then we're going to hit the auto takeoff button. So the auto takeoff button does not seem to operate, so we're going to give it throttle to get in the air. Okay, throttle got us into the air. Okay, this time we want to try follow me. Pushing forward, going out in that direction there. Right there. And we are recording. Now I'm going to go into the follow me feature on the app here in the upper right corner, pressing it. And again, we want to select the top one. Wait a minute, that's not follow me. Center one is follow me. So follow me. And we want to select the bottom one here, which is GPS follow me. The upper two ones are optical, and you've got to be an optical flow flying to do that. If you're flying GPS, you've got to use the bottom one here. So clicking it, let's see if it turns toward me. And it appears to turn toward me. And let's lower that gimbal a bit. That's up, down. Okay, down. That's too low. So there I am. Okay, so let's try to follow me. Walking toward it. It's a breezy day. Is it gonna start following me? It is. It's walking away from me. I'm gonna have to look. I hit the compass calibration while it's flying. It's not doing anything. But now let's go to the right. Trying the right. Over here. Kind of follow me. We got a DJI type of follow me, like it's being pulled on a string. Okay, is it going to come in my direction here? Now I got to raise that gimbal up again because it dropped a bit because of the wind. So now I'm trying to give it more throttle to get it up higher. It doesn't want to do it, which is interesting. So the controls do not work on this while you're in follow me mode. It'll just follow. Let's see. Heading off this direction here. I'm going a little bit faster. Old man walking through the desert. But there you go, that's the follow me. Again, it's similar to DJI follow me, like being pulled on a string. So let's come out of that now. So hit the follow me command and going in there and stopping it. Okay, do we have control again? Do we have control? Trying to push forward, doesn't seem to want to. Oh, we're still in follow me. Let's come out of that thing. Okay. Let's see if I can go into something different. I hit return to home. I stopped it. I think I came out of it by hitting return to home. Yeah, that's what it did. So I hit the return to home control and it came out of it. Okay, are we still recording? We are still recording. Let's try circle me, except I'm going to use the circle me on the controller. Hitting orbit. Let's see what it does. I pressed orbit and it goes off about 5 meters. And I think we got to tell which direction to orbit by moving the stick up and to the right or the left. I'm going to go up right. And let go of the stick. You can set the orbit radius also by pushing out on the stick. So it's orbiting this position where it was at. So there's orbit position. I'm going to let it orbit about 2 times. Now notice how it goes up and down with the wind. As it goes into the wind, it goes down, and as it goes away from the wind, it goes up. So keep that in mind, folks. That's because of the barometer, or the pressure sensor, altitude control. People don't like me to say barometer, but that's what it is, folks. It's a air pressure sensor. That's determining what altitude it's at. So it should start to drop again here as it starts to go into the wind right about now, and there it goes, dropping. So that is orbit position on this. So we're going to stop that right there. That's orbit. Now, remember, this is supposed to take 4K photos. Let's bring it around. Bring it toward me. And we're going to have to go a higher rate here because of the wind, surprisingly. So, pressing the left stick, go into medium rate. Bring it over. And checking my view and the camera here. Okay, now I'm going to stop the video recording by pressing and holding the video recording button. Coming down a little lower too. Get in the picture. Right about there. And taking a quick snap. And taking another one. Okay, and one more. I'm going to get closer this time. Am I showing up in the picture? I am. Smile pretty. Okay, that's its camera, folks. So that's we did Circle Me, Follow Me, showed the 4K camera, the image quality of the 4K camera. This next one, let's go out. We are in medium rate, and it's very quick in medium rate, by the way. Bringing it around again, showing you it in medium rate. Now I'm going to start the video camera one more time. Let me stop it right there. Wow, this thing's fast, and that's medium rate. Okay, starting the video camera one more time. And we are recording. Now I'm going to lower the gimbal all the way down. All the way down. And get under it and say, up and away. There it is, up and away. Now guess what? We are low on battery. Okay, we're at 20% battery. So we're gonna come down. Now when it's low on battery, it won't let me fly greater than 20 meters, I believe. Yep, we got a coming down, and it's doing a return to home. Automatic return to home with this thing. Let's see how close it is on its return to home on this one here. The voltage is 10.9 volts. That's a lot of voltage still, folks. We could fly longer. I'm going to try to fly longer. 10.8 volts, 10.9 volts. Let's see how it does its return to home and landing. Is it going to descend? Do I have to manually descend it? Pulling down the stick, you got to manually descend it. If it's doing a return to home on low battery, it'll just hover up in the sky. So you got to manually bring it in, bring it down. We're not going to land it though. Okay, what else? I still got battery power on it of 10.9 volts. What haven't we demonstrated? We did Circle Me, Follow Me, waypoints. These are going to be real short waypoints. Going to waypoint feature, low battery cannot start, unfortunately. Unfortunately, folks, I did not get a chance to demonstrate waypoints. I'll try to show that at home, but I believe the maximum waypoint distance you can go with this is only 100 meters. So, you know, this is not a long distance waypoint flyer like others. So we're going to fly it around on its low battery. Every time I go out to 20 meters, it doesn't return to home. So we're going to call it quits there. That's the end of the flight. So 25 minutes flight time. I'm not sure if we were up 25 minutes or not. I'm going to reduce the throttle, bring it back down. But that's about its flight time, folks. It'll let you fly. Again, once it gets low battery state, if you fly out to 20 meters, it'll automatically do a return to home and just hover. So remember, you got to bring it back down again with the throttle stick. So we're going to call it quits here and land it. And stop the video recording by hitting the video record button on the controller and sum it up. Let me turn off this controller and turn off the drone too. We were pointing downward for most of that flight after I did that up and away. Okay, drone is off and controller coming off. After I make sure I hit the video record button, controller's off here. So what are my thoughts on this? Well, this is a more or less a beginners or intermediate flyers GPS quadcopter. I would recommend beginners start with a brushed motor, cheap a cheap brush motor GPS quadcopter if you're looking for that GPS flying. You go into these bigger drones with the brushless motors. There is the potential for you causing damage with them, unfortunately, or you know, or loss of the drone too. So I always recommend that beginner flyers start with the cheaper brushed motor options first before moving up to these, and then if you eventually want to move up to the high-end drones, then you'll have some experience in that in these type of drones before you go taking a chance on losing an expensive drone. So that's the 8811 Aviator. Hope you enjoyed this flight. This is Quadcopter 101 signing out. Hi, Quadcopter 101 here again. Hey, if you want to get your own shout out in one of my future videos, make sure you subscribe to my channel. It's real simple. Just go to my channel page and click on that subscribe. And also make sure to click that bell button right next to the subscribe button. That way you get notified when I release a brand new video immediately and give you a chance to get that first shout out. So give it a try, folks.